Morning is breaking. How dark was it that morning, just before daybreak, just before Easter broke through? Not quite pitch black, because there was a tiny light beaming, distant but bright, a morning star set high in the heavens to herald what was coming, watching what human eyes could not see. The sun, already on its journey, rising to break over the edge of earth. Light rising to appear at the crack of dawn. Does light have a sound to it as it breaks through darkness? The Sabbath is over. The Jewish Passover has been remembered. What has passed over has passed over. One day turned into night, turning into a new day on that horizon for those for whom the week of Passover, that celebration of the great deliverance from death, that Passover has filled a week, run its course for this year. Memories stored up to be brought to life, reenacted again and again, year after year. That story of being passed over by death. But on the first Easter day, death is not passed by. Two women moving slowly along the narrow path towards a rock-hewn tomb where lies the body of one death did not pass over. The women stumbling, holding tightly to one another and to the spices they carry so carefully, sharing their burdens, not just the jars of balming ointments they will rub on the dead body they will visit, but the burden of crushing grief. There's no balm for the soul for them as they walk this early morning path. The story of that first morning, as told in the Gospel of Matthew, is the most dramatic of all the Gospel stories of that morning. Suddenly there is an earthquake. The ground shakes. Even the stone rolled away from the opening to the tomb seems to rumble deeply. The angel, newscaster of the resurrection, appears before the startled women like a bolt of lightning. Imagine his voice sounding almost like thunder. Do not be afraid. Then commanding the women to peer into the tomb. Look for yourself. See, it is empty. Then commissioning them, drop everything. The ointments you brought to anoint the dead, put them down. Leave your grief behind. The one you thought was dead has passed through death. He now lives. Go quickly, report what has happened. Fear and joy mixed together. Is it a morning like no other? Almost. In the hour before an Easter dawn here on the Rappahannock, a waning moon hangs heavily in the night sky. A narrow path of its reflected light spreads out on the dark, moving waters of the river. The wind begins to rise, as the weather for the day had predicted. Strangely, thunderstorms are also predicted a little later this morning. Over the fields, the sun is on its way, birthing light, reaching out to gray clouds, touching them lavender and rose. The moon is fading, bowing to stronger light. A warming wind brushes over the river waters, smoothing their troubled surface. Moments, minutes pass. Birds on the wing take their place on branches etched against the sky. An exquisite processional hymn bursts out of their tiny bodies as a brilliant, almost blinding golden sun breaks through. Like the hymn, morning has broken. Like the first morning, blackbird is spoken. Like the first bird. Praise for the singing. Praise for this morning. Praise for them springing fresh from the word. Somehow we need the powerful images of this Easter story in the Gospel of Matthew this year. One that cracks through the darkness, breaks into the fear and trembling that the world is feeling as a life and death crisis troubles the waters of our life. The world seeks desperate measures to bring order out of a chaotic time that is dominating both our inner and outer landscapes. We need light to break through it all, not quietly, but loud, deliberate. a lightning strike to the heart of death on a rampage. We need to feel the earthquake and a thunderous voice bringing order out of this chaos. We need powerful images of resurrection, life beyond, to give us hope. Ground us in the trust that we will pass through this time and find light and life on the other side. In the beginning was the Word. Christ's light at the beginning of the world is the genesis of everything, bringing order out of chaos. Maybe the creation story offers us the first Easter morning. From the Gospel of John, the Word, Christ was in the beginning with God. All things came into being through him. What has come into being in him was light, and the light was the light of all people. The light shines in the darkness, and the darkness did not overcome it. Maybe Jesus' earthly death and the resurrection that follows that death is simply the second Easter story. And how timely that it follows the Passover, a story about avoiding death. Isn't our greatest fear that death will overcome us? Isn't our greatest hope, dream, that it will simply pass us by? This is the second Easter, that morning so long ago. It makes us aware of a much bigger story. Not about simply passing over suffering and death, but about passing through both. Both suffering and loss, so real in our human lifetime. Then finding new life rising beyond both. Experiencing life as not having been overcome by the darkness. This time, the Easter story is a story of recreation. Recreation by a God who is making all things new over and over again, being intimately present with us throughout the passage, through suffering, through what feels like or really is death, and then breathing a new life into us when the passage is over. This cycle is reenacted in our life over and over again. An Easter moment is when hope dawns and then light breaks through, and we come to have faith over time in a reality that proves life continues. Maybe different, but maybe even more abundant, deeper, more connected than even before. This is the gift of Christ on his Easter morning. On this Easter morning, let's grab onto the light, take heart that this too, this chaotic time too will pass. That although we suffer, although some old things pass away, we are the stuff of God's recreation, stuff of a new day dawning. This Easter, let us raise our voices and join the bird song, led by a cross into a morning broke open by love and light. We process, go forward, singing together. Mine is the sunlight, mine is the morning, born of the one light, Eden saw play. Praise with elation, praise every morning, God's creation, recreation of the new day. Alleluia, alleluia. By God's amazing grace, believe, have faith that it is so. Amen.